Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out episode 20 of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War, and we had one of the creepiest opponents in the last episode, which is saying something, because there have been a few. I think that he takes the cake in this one. I get that his whole fear power is like the point, right? Like he's supposed to make people afraid. At the same time though, I'm okay if we never see him again. I don't know if that's true. We may very well see him again, given how we have some weird things going on with how Quincy's exist and get absorbed and that kind of a thing. And it was almost like he was chosen, because we saw some flashbacks of him in like a hospital bed with like a respirator. So I wonder if he was given his power and what that kind of means for Quincy's in general, because we are kind of seeing that the knowledge that Soul Reapers have of Quincy's is very limited to what their actual abilities are, right? So getting more and more information about how Quincy's work and all of that stuff. I really liked that we got to see Rukia showing off her new abilities and just being amazing, honestly. Like, her power is kind of metal. It's always been one of those ones where it's like, it's really pretty, it has a lot of cool effects to it, there's a lot of potential behind it, but getting to see it in like its full force, at least like its true form, is really, really cool. I liked the way that she interacted with Byakuya and how much their relationship has developed over the years, but we got introduced to another creepy Quincy, which seems to be a ongoing theme. I kind of miss the superstar superhero guy that we had before, because at least he was like fun and chaotic, but not going to feed into my nightmares for the rest of my life, you know? But we got introduced to a new Quincy that seems to be able to like erase their existence, which seems like a bad time for everyone involved. But we also seem to be getting some hints about Kenpachi. In like the last episode, we're seeing his lieutenant, we're seeing some hints of people talking about how he's not around, so makes me hopeful that we'll get some moments of him pretty soon. And we also have Ichigo currently free-falling his way into a grand entrance, so I'm looking forward to that too. But let's get into this episode and see where we're gonna end up. In 3, 2, 1, go. I feel like hitting her is a bad decision. Like picking a fight with the wrong person, you know? Like her in and of herself, but also Kenpachi. Why does everyone have the weird eyes going on? I kind of appreciate that she's just like, I'm just gonna punch and see what happens. But seems unfazed by being injured, which is also concerning. Oh, see, that's creepy too. The like mask thing, which like is creepy, but also masks I associate so much with hollows. And I know that like Quincy abilities and hollow abilities have to be very separate because of like the nature of Quincy's, but I think it's again that like crossing over of power sets, right? Just because one group tends to favor a power more than another group doesn't mean that there can't be some crossover between those abilities. And I think that Quincy's are probably closer to hollows than they care to admit. They would probably get very, very mad at me saying that, but you know what? They don't seem like very nice people, so I'll say whatever I want. I'm even mad at my sweet boy Uryu. So I think that says a lot about where I'm at right now. I like that in the opener because there's like kind of alternate universe versions, I guess, of the different fights that I get now because I've seen some of them. I like that Rukia has like a fire extinguisher. Like that's her ability in this alternate universe. It does make me wonder about the other ones, though. Because after that, we had Orihime and Sado. So maybe they gonna be part of something? coming up. That's training right there. She's a good read. Those eyes are empty. She's a scary, scary person. But I kind of appreciate that about her. I guess we haven't really seen her use her as a Bakuto. Who's entered the fray? Creature of your imagination. Um, yeah. Who are you? What is your ability? And how scared of you should I be? Um, I'm not okay with that. Or that. I'm like, is he have a ability to control things because of his imagination? Oh, those eyes are empty too. That's like a really cool power, but I want you to not be the one that has it. Is that our boy? Look at him. I knew he was about to show up. Oh, awkward. Oh. Unfazed. Honestly, I'm surprised that he's been talking for so long. I mean, the power of imagination does seem like a very overpowered ability. Like he's just like, oh, I would have hit harder if you had said that you were more invincible. Dang. We love the flex. Let's go. His lieutenant is scary though. Probably. You just like imagine that he wasn't injured. I don't know if he's thinking that hard, honestly. He's more of a how how much force do I have to put into the next attack? So I'm like, he is not opposed to absolute ridiculousness. I kind of love that. He's really not wondering that hard, honestly. He will, however, be very upset if you keep hurting his lieutenant. He has a thing about protecting his squad. Gonna have to try harder than that. Oh, so there's a limit. He's got to keep imagining it, I guess. He has to be like, it has to be something conscious in his mind. Interesting thought from him. I'm so conflicted. She's cute, but she's also terrifying. Doesn't seem like much of a fighter, though. Especially if he could just imagine his way out of a fight. Have we awoken something in him? Oh, okay. Sure. Kapachi's gonna love this, though. He's just like, yes, actually, fight me. That was a cool shot. Yeah, the more unhinged, the better. In his opinion. Be careful, he might try to recruit you. Oh, you're doubting yourself now. It's gonna mean that you can't imagine yourself to be the strongest anymore. That's gonna mess with you. Uh-oh. Look, it's just like, cool, I've never fought one of those before. Oh, he loves it. He is unhinged. I love him. Oh, I guess we're gonna learn about some of his Zanpakuto's actual abilities because we haven't seen any of those yet. Ooh, that shift him back into like his younger self, like all the way back to the beginning of him like loving fighting. Okay, well that's not quite stopping any damage, but I guess it's better than a straight up meteor falling on everybody. Oh, look at that! It's like a giant cleaver. Oof. You put him in a vacuum? That's messed up. Uh-oh. It's not gonna be enough. He is an unstoppable force. You want to win? Can't you just imagine that you won? Oof. I don't even know what to make of that. Like, one, I love that we just get to see Kenpachi full out, absolute madman fighting. Love that for him. That he was like, ooh, an unbeatable opponent. That sounds fun. But also like the power of like having it be like imagination. Like I love how so much of the power sets for the last little bit have been like psychological, right? Like it's fear and then it's like imagination and how powerful those things are. And like playing with those like intangible abilities as opposed to something that's like more elemental, right? So I love that that's been what we've been going with so far. And I love that you have a good matchup with the powers going up against it because you get someone like Kenpachi who has such a strong resolve that it doesn't matter what you imagine. He can defeat it because he has decided that that is so. Right? No one has a stronger sense of my thoughts become reality than Kenpachi. It's a cool power though. Scary, but a cool power. Um, yes, I'm also concerned about the brain in a jar. That was strangely profound, but also there's a brain in a jar. And I'm like, Miyuri's gonna pick that up, isn't he? He's gonna keep that. What? That was definitely a epic reintroduction to Kenpachi, the craziest man I've probably ever seen, but also I kind of adore him. Like, he's super unhinged, but like, at least he means well most of the time. We're gonna keep him, you know, he's a killing machine, but we've decided to keep him. But I also really love that the last couple of episodes have been really like mind focused, not just with like the opponents, but it's like the way that that reflects in the rest of the Soul Reapers and how they're interacting with those specific things, right? So fear in the previous episode and how that can really make or break someone in a fight, because it can make you hesitate, it can make you think of outcomes, it can make you freeze up, right? So it can really affect you if you're letting your fear control you in any kind of confrontation or anything in general that you want to accomplish. Fear can make you completely stand still and fail just because you've done nothing, right? And then in this one, having it be imagination, and imagination can be a wonderful thing and a wonderful escape, but it can also be a lot of other things that can come with it. Like, a lot of the time, the reason that we have the fears that we do is because our imagination summons them into existence for us. So I love getting those two sides of like the power of overcoming fear in a fight, not negating it, not having no fear at all. It's how do you embrace that fear and continue anyway. And then imagination being, how do you control your imagination in a way that truly benefits you and actually allows you to have like a positive effect on whatever you're doing. In this case, a battle, a confrontation, but it's about harnessing your imagination in a way that's productive as opposed to letting it be your downfall. So I like getting those two things mixed up with all of the cool fight scenes that have also been happening. I mean, the animation is such a wonderful step up in this series, and just the design in general, like the use of colors, the use of framings, like in the shot, certain ways that are framed is just beautiful. Like, the people working on this animation are just artists at it. It's so good, and there are so many things that I want to like go frame by frame through, because there are things that I just love about the aesthetic of this series. And I love getting these like wonderful themes mixed into it, as we not only have the fights, which have been kind of back to back to back, but all of these wonderful themes and certain subjects being mixed up into it that just make it so much more rich. And that's what I've always loved about Bleach as a series, is that it's not just a black and white fight, it's not just a one strong person fighting another strong person, it's what are all of these other like moral gray zones and themes and psychological reasons behind why the conflict is happening. So I love that that's just been really solidified in this part of the season. I feel like in the previous part it wasn't quite as stood out to me, and maybe that's just because I was completely overwhelmed by everything that was happening. I might feel different if I go back to it and I see some of the things that I know now being pulled forward into the previous parts of the season. But I love that this is something that we're kind of focusing on for the second invasion, and all the stuff that's kind of happening as an aftermath of that we're kind of expanding these different ideas of why someone fights and what happens to someone who fights and what is like the ultimate motivation behind a lot of these characters. But I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you miss next time I post a Bleach reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.